Hey guys, I just finished day 4 of stimming. I'm on 150 units of Menopur and 225 units of Follistim. I wanted to just catch you up on how these first 4 nights have gone. If you are friends with me on Facebook or on Instagram, then you know how it went. It did not go well on the first night. Okay, so the living situation is that we have a roommate and my husband and a 93-pound dog and myself. And I did not tell all the boys, they're all boys, ahead of time what I expected. I really wanted peace and quiet and an empty kitchen to do it, and instead it was just a regular night. So I should have waited like an hour and waited until everyone had calmed down and roommate had gone to his room, because there was so much energy, and here I was trying to give myself my first injection. And if you've done them before, then you know that that first night is horrible if you're going to do it yourself. So it was just awful. By the time I got the first injection in, I had already poked myself twice, because I would be like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And so I had like little, you know, the needles are sharp, so I had like little blood droplets from where I had poked myself twice already. So I don't know if I'd ever told you, but I have an issue with the electrical system of my heart. My heart is fine, but the sensors that are in my muscle tissue that tell the brain how hard the muscle is working are overly sensitive. So the level of stress it takes a regular person to pass out is like here, and for me it's like way down here. So after my very first injection, Tuesday night, I started to lose my vision completely, and I had to like put the syringe back on the counter, and I told my husband to put it in the sharps container, and I had to go lay down on the floor. And then I had to get up and do my second one. And so it did not go well. I cried because I was embarrassed and I was upset with myself. And then, like a big old baby, I called my mom, and I was like back to being a little kid. I was like, it was terrible. And so anyway, got that over with. The second night, I was totally by myself, no dog, no people. But where I messed up is the needles are completely painless if you just do it, you know, just inject yourself. So I did it so slow. It was like ripping a band-aid off at minimum speed, you know? So I do not recommend that. That was more like torture. But again, when I pressed the plunger for the Menopur, my blood pressure dropped again, and I started to get dizzy. And again, I had to lay on the floor in between my injections. So I think I have had a particularly bad experience with doing the injections. I mean, I had 2 nights in a row of laying on the floor in between the first and second injection. I didn't cry the second night because I was sort of expecting it, and I was alone, so there was no embarrassment factor. But I did decide that I would never do them alone again, because, you know, I could have actually hurt myself if I had lost consciousness. So then the third night, I asked my husband to leave the room with the dog. I did it myself again, but this time I sat in a chair, and I did the dart motion like the nurses teach you. So the needles didn't hurt. The medicine still, of course, burns a little, but I sat in the chair and my blood pressure didn't drop, but my heart was racing because I was still nervous. My first 2 nights were so bad. So anyway, on the 4th night, I thought, okay, I've basically got the hang of this. I think on the 4th night I could do this without passing out without getting dizzy. So I'm gonna let my husband do it. And another thing I found was I bought like a gel cold and hot pack, and it doesn't get cold enough. Even if I take it out of the cloth sleeve that it comes with, it's still not cold enough. So I've just been putting ice cubes in a sandwich bag and putting that right on my skin. And that seemed to really, really help a lot. It pretty much numbs the surface completely. So when my husband, Aaron, did the STIMS tonight, I felt nothing. Like, I said, let me know when you're in, you know, and I looked away and he was in and I didn't feel it. And then he did the Menopur and it didn't burn. And that's bullshit, because I don't know if he did. It's not like he did anything different, but it's not bullshit. I was very thankful. So we have agreed that he's going to take over and do my STIMS for me from now on. I mean, he might as well get used to it, because we are going to do the progesterone and oil injections, you know, and they're intramuscular. So I would rather him be comfortable with injecting me than try to be some hard ass and say, oh, I did all my own injections. So, I'm a little disappointed, because I really did want to tough it out and be one of those women who said that they did all of their own injections. But not only is it easier to have someone else do it, but I like the experience. I like sharing that with my husband. It's really truly some bonding, and it's kind of like one of those goofy corporate team building exercises where you like let somebody catch you or whatever. Allowing him to do that takes a lot of trust, and I know that he's perfectly capable of doing the injections and not hurting me, and it gives me a lot more confidence for when we do the progesterone and oil injections. There were a couple of stories that I wanted to share with you from work. You know, people are kind of on the fence about whether or not to share with coworkers what they're doing. And I work with mostly men, and actually I think it's easier to share with men because they can't understand what you're going through, so they just immediately treat you like with honor, you know, okay, whatever you need. At least that's been my experience. I have a big construction project that's about to start, and the construction supervisor and I passed each other in the hall, and he said, you know, when we start this, nobody knows more about this than you. You need to be out there in the field every day or every other day. And it just so happens that it's coinciding with my injections. So I said, you know what? I will be there, but I would like to talk to you about something personal, if you don't mind. So we went into a conference room, and I said, I will be there, but I might not be able to get there until 9:30 on certain mornings, and I will let you know if I'm not available. But basically, I am going to start doing injections, and I will be monitored frequently while my doctors get the dosages correct. And that was my way of, you know, explaining my absence in the morning, but without giving too much detail. But this individual has a sister who battled cancer. So picture, you know, from the filter of his mind, having someone say that they are going to be doing injections and their doctors are going to be monitoring them closely while the doses are optimized, he immediately assumed that I had cancer. And so he started to ask me, well, what's going on? And I replied with, well, we can't have kids. Now that's where the miscommunication took place, because he still thought I had cancer. And he said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. My sister dealt with infertility when she had cancer. And I said, I'm sorry to hear that. I know that cancer patients are a large part of our infertility clinic, and he stood up and he hugged me. And now, if it was a woman, I would have known that she just feels for me. But since it was a man, I was kind of like, okay, well, you know, this is a better man than I thought, you know. He's already an awesome guy, but he said, I'm so sorry. You're so young. And I put two and two together, and I was like, oh, whoa, 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 no, no, no. My health is fine. I do not have cancer. We are infertile. We are going through IVF. And he was so relieved. You know, you could just see it wash over him. And it was the first time someone has been relieved to hear that I was infertile. And I needed that. That whole interaction was a huge blessing, because sometimes I can feel a little sorry for myself, and I've not felt sorry for myself since then. And that was a couple weeks ago, because it reminded me of what I do have. You know, I do have my health and my husband's health, and I'm not infertile because I'm undergoing chemotherapy. And the type of infertility that we have is treatable with the ICSI. So I'm just blessed. I'm just blessed. And I've just been so happy. So I went to my desk and I wrote a letter to this man thanking him and explaining how he affected me. But I'm hanging on to that letter because I want to wait until our construction project is over, for one thing. But I kind of want to give it to him as a way of announcing that IVF worked. And I dated it so that he would know, and it was October 14th, I remember, 15th. So that's the first story. The second story is, I don't know why, but I was, sorry about that, my phone's ringing. I don't know why, probably because I got the flu shot. I went ahead and got the flu shot, and I told the gentleman that sits next to me. So we started talking about needles and so on and so forth. And he shared a personal story with me. And this is the kind of person who, he knows I'm going through IVF, but if I start to talk about any details, he gets squeamish and he's like, don't tell me anything else. I have friends that already went through it and they told me too much. But he decided to share with me that he has 3 children. Between the first and second, his wife experienced a miscarriage. And the doctors realized that her progesterone levels had plummeted. So, excuse me, when they were pregnant with their second child, the first one after the miscarriage, the doctors prescribed her to be on progesterone and oil injections, 2 per day. And she had to also swallow suppositories. And he was telling me how he had to administer her intramusculars. And I just started smiling, just beaming, just listening to him like, really? And I said, thank you so much for sharing that with me, because we will have to do progesterone and oil shots, and my husband will have to give them to me. And he gave me his perspective on it. You know, the first time he had to get his mental state right before he could do it. But that they got the hang of it together, and he said his wife was a trooper and they were doing 2 a night, and then they finally tapered off to 1 per night. So again, here's my sob story, and when you compare it to other people's experiences, it's not so bad. You know, it's like that old story or old phrase, if everyone threw their problems in a pile, you would probably reach for your own back. So I'm just thankful and blessed and feeling really, really positive. tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. we have our first follow-up appointment. So our first blood work and ultrasound since doing STIMS. So we've gotten in 4 nights. My symptoms really started showing up today. My muscles in my lower abdomen on the left side feel pulled, like there's a tightness. And from the very first injections, I have felt my left side waking up. I don't know how else to explain it, except it feels like there's pressure, like it's swelling. I don't feel anything on my right side, and that really confuses me because my right ovary is the one that had like 10 follicles and was perfectly shaped and easy to find during the ultrasounds and was beautiful. The left one's the problem child, so I don't know why I'm feeling so much from it. But the other thing is I did start to develop headaches today. Not excruciating, it felt like strain, you know, around my eyes and kind of up the back of my neck. I had back pain today. I don't know if that's related. And when I walk and talk, I'm out of breath. I don't know if that's a common symptom. That seemed a little weird to me, but the bloat started today. At least it looks like it to me. I always do have a little bit of a pooch, but today I can't like hide it. I can't suck it back in. But anyway, I'm doing really well. I hope all of you guys are doing well. I want to give a shout out to Sarah Loves Peter because I know that she's stimming. I think I'm just a couple days behind you, or 1 day behind you. And I want to thank you so much for filming your first day of STIMS, because that is how I was with giving myself my first injection. And at one point I handed the second injection to my husband and said, "You do the second one." And then he started to get into position. I was like, no, give it back. I'll do it. So the difference between you and me is that I cried and I got dizzy. So I think you did a fantastic job. Anyway, I'll let you guys go with that, and I'll try to update more frequently. If you would like to follow me, I am on Instagram and on Facebook. I'll put all that stuff in the description box, but I tend to update there more frequently. All right, see you guys soon, baby dust. Bye.